name is. What is coding? Coding is a term often used as another name for programming. In computing terms, it is a type of programming which closely or exactly represents how a processor handles instructions. Coding, described in its simplest way, is when a programmer writes down steps for the computer to follow. Coding levels. Hi. Coding languages range from high-level languages to low-level languages. Coding allows programmers to speak to the computer, but a programmer can use different languages to speak. First, there are high-level languages, which allow the programmer to code in a natural fashion using logical words and symbols. Examples of high-level languages include C++, Java, and Perl. Here's a little picture of code that I wrote in Java as an example of high-level languages. Coding levels, low. Low-level languages correlate directly to the machine or assembly language, which are understood directly by the CPU or central processing system. The most basic language is binary. Eventually, every language is translated into binary where the computer can understand it completely. Variables. So variables are objects created in programs like Java, where like real objects, we can describe them and give them characteristics. Objects are used in object-oriented programming. For the sake of time, we will be limiting the characteristics to simply a description of the object. In actual object-oriented programming, objects have actual specific types of descriptions. Variables allow the programmer to manipulate information with much more facility, and they add huge flexibility to coding. Examples of variables include int, char, double, long, and string, and float. Int is short for integer. Integer is a type of data that stores, as it states, integers up to a certain order of magnitude. Char stands for character, stores only letters from A to Z. Double, like int, stores numbers from up to a certain order of magnitude, but it can include numbers in decimals. Long can store the largest order of magnitude number, and it can include numbers with decimals or integers. And string is a type of variable that stores phrases or even letters or numbers. It really just stores any sort of information. How to code. Define the problem you are trying to solve with your code. Once you've defined your problem, it is much easier to see what your solution is. So now that you know what your solution is, you want to define that solution so that you know what your code will yield. Essentially, what exactly will be the end result. Will it be a number? Will it be a string? Will it be a phrase that then followed by a number? Now that both the problem and solution are well defined, we can map the steps to the solution and write the code or algorithm to solve the problem. Definitions. An algorithm is a step-by-step process that one follows sequentially to achieve an end result. Debugging is when you search your code for errors or bugs. A bug is an error in the program that does not let it function in the intended manner. Pseudocode is an informal way for programmers to literally state what actions the code is executing. So the first stage. The first stage of coding is brainstorming and clarifying the problem and the solution. Once both the solution and the problem are well defined, the programmer can begin to write an algorithm which will be later turned into code. Second stage. This is the stage where we will write out the pseudocode before beginning to write the actual code. This step can sometimes be the hardest, since the most intense thought process is required in order to figure out how to write the algorithm. Once the pseudocode is written, the programmer can finally write the intended code. Third and last stage. Well, if you're asking yourself why is there a third stage, you're not alone. Once the code is written, the elated programmer must come down from his or her short high to realize that now they have to debug their code to make sure it works correctly. This in general tends to be the most time-consuming step, and in my opinion, the most boring step. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you've understood what coding is.